Hello, everyone. Sorry about the wait. We just wrapped up Couch Court with Llama, and now it's True Crime and Wine time. Unfortunately, the lovely Teri True Crime couldn't be here with us tonight, so you guys just have me, but that's okay. We'll still have fun. Make sure you send her lots of love in the chat. I know she'll be watching and, well, she'll be listening anyway, but make sure you let her know how much we love her in chat. So it'll just be me telling this story, but we'll have, don't worry, I've got lots to say about this episode tonight. So did the portal not work for you guys in chat? Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes the portal works, sometimes it doesn't. But before I get to saying hi to everybody, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of True Crime and Wine Time, where we dive into the most jaw-dropping true crime stories while sipping a glass of wine or something smooth to take the edge off. So pour a glass, lock your doors, and let's uncork the truth behind some of the darkest crimes. Now, you guys, before we begin, you know the drill. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode, because we are always doing something here on this channel. They're like, Llama, do you ever sleep? No. No, I do not. I'm just tied to this chair, actually, when I'm not on. Just sit here staring like this. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what happens. You can also become a member of our channel, which comes with all sorts of exclusive perks, including shows that we do only for members. All you got to do is click the join button and pick which level works best for you. And you guys, the lowest one is 99 cents. And you unlock a whole show, all sorts of goodies. So I can't recommend that enough. And if you're listening to us as a pod, please download our video, leave a review, rating, whatever the, the platform asks for. Please do that, because it really does help our little channel get out there in the algorithms, the magical algorithms that we don't understand. But before I get into other stuff, I want to say hi to everyone that is in our live chat right now. Hello, Kelly. Thank you for making it. Pam, thank you. You made it. You did it. Lainey being like number 5. That's right, you guys. Hit the like button. Boop. Like that. And there's Lady in Gray and Angie. Everybody's coming here. There's Juju. Hi, Juju. Everyone making their way over. Well, before I get further into the show, it is a very special day. Today is one of our staff's birthday, the lovely Ms. Capin, who does a lot of our research and writing and all the visuals that we bring to you on True Crime and Wine Time. It is because of that beautiful babe right there. That's right. You've seen her as a guest co-host, so make sure you all wish her a happy birthday. Is this a video? Oh, it's not a video. Okay. I just wasn't sure if I needed to pause. So make sure everybody tell her in the chat or the comments, if you're part of the replay crew, a very happy birthday to our amazing, amazing Capin. All right. So what will we be covering tonight? Tonight, we'll be talking about the disappearance of the Skelton brothers. Now, we're taking you guys back to Thanksgiving weekend 2010. And it's a story that hits especially hard this time of year. It's a case of love and loss and so many unending questions. Even though it's a case from 15 years ago, by the end of this episode, you will see that it is more relevant than ever. And you're probably going to be as irate as I am about it. So, but before I get into that, let's talk about what I'm drinking tonight. I opened my bottle like an hour and a half ago when we were watching court, because, oh boy, what a doozy. What a doozy. But tonight I'm drinking Dark Horse Sauvignon Blanc. Oh, you can't see it because my green screen, but it's cute. And it says, a true winemaker's wine. We founded Dark Horse with a bold mission. Use winemaking techniques typically reserved for expensive wines on a wine that our friends could actually afford. That's me. Thank you. Our California Sauvignon Blanc uses New Zealand inspired winemaking techniques to deliver lively notes of passion fruit, grapefruit, and lime. And I can tell you, it doesn't taste, I do not taste the grapefruit because I do not like grapefruit. So if you're like me, who does not like grapefruit, don't let that fool you. Yes, happy birthday. All the birthday love for Cap'n over here. You guys are the best. Drink up, baby llama. All right. So let's get into tonight's story, shall we? So, Morenci, Michigan. It's a tiny dot on the map tucked just above the Ohio border. The kind of place where nothing big ever happens until one day something does. It's small there. In 2011, only 37 students graduated from Morenci High School. So, like, yeah, y'all, it's small. That might be their only stoplight. I don't know for sure, but it kind of looks like a one stoplight kind of town. I grew up in an area that was like that. And when you grow up at a place like that, everyone knows each other, or at least they thought they did. It's the sort of town where you can trace every name, every family, every story back a generation or two. So, when three little boys, Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner Skelton, vanished, it didn't just make headlines, it sent cracks through the foundation of a community built on trust. After the Thanksgiving holiday in 2010, nothing about Morenci ever felt the same again. The three little bedroom house on 112 Congress Street once held the noise of three brothers, their laughter, arguing, cartoon and video games on too loud. Now, though, it's someone else's home. And for the people of Morenci, it's a reminder that even in the smallest, safest towns, monsters don't always live in the woods. Sometimes they live right down the street. Now, before we get into the events of Thanksgiving 2010, we're going to go back a few months to September when a trip to Florida set off this chain of events. So buckle up, guys. Buckle up. Get your drinks, your snacks, because it's going to be a doozy. All right. So Tanya and John Skelton had been married for 8 years. Both had been married before. Tanya had two daughters who were significantly older than the boys, and they were grown adults at the time of the disappearance. So they weren't like living there or anything. Together, though, they had three boys. John also had a daughter from a previous marriage, but she lived with her mother. Sorry, didn't want to forget that part. Now, together, they had three boys, Andrew, who was 9, Alexander, who was 7, and little Tanner, who was 5. And you guys, they are so adorable. Look at them. Oh, they have just the beautifulest little smiles. Oh, this is so hard. Now, we're going to listen to a short clip of Tanya speaking about her boys, because who better to tell you about them than their own mother? So let's see what she has to say.
Andrew, the old soul. So caring, so loving, wise, beyond his years. Alexander. Ooh. Everybody just kind of giggles. He fascinated with cell phones. He loved tools and building things or digging.
Aww.
I always saw him as something. He was going to be creative somehow. Tanner, he was my baby.
So cute.
He had just turned 5, so he was still, had that baby face, and of course, anything Alex could do, he was going to do too. They were two peas in a pod. Didn't look a thing alike, but if you saw one, you saw the other.
They were very, very close brothers. I don't think they went anywhere without each other. So that's what she had to say about her 3 little boys. And they're just adorable looking. I mean, oh my God, look how cute they are. The picture of Tanner in the second on the top right there, that little baby face. Oh, adorbs. Now, Tanya says the marriage didn't fall apart overnight. For years, it
Andrew,
was, oh,
the old
we're
soul.
still, I don't know where that
So
one's coming
caring,
from.
so loving.
There, we'll do that well. Amy fixes. Amy fixes that one for us. You're fine, babe. Now, Tanya says the marriage didn't fall apart overnight. For years, it was the kind of small fights couples have, arguments that flare up and then cool down. But by the fall of 2010, something had shifted. The week of September 10th, John had started talking about moving the family to Florida. He had recently come back from a high school reunion down there, and he promised better pay, a fresh start, and time with his parents and sister who lived down there. Now, Tanya was not very excited over the idea. She really didn't want to move. Her whole family was there in Michigan, and Florida was hot, and she couldn't do the heat, which I haven't been there, but agreed. I hear it's not Llama. Llama's not going to like it. And she did have some legal requirements to meet because of an old felony on her record. She legally couldn't just up and move, but she told John that she would think about it. Now, I think now is probably as good a time as any to talk briefly about Tanya's criminal past. So in 1998, then known as 30-year-old something or 30-something-year-old Tanya Derby, she found herself in some very serious legal trouble. She was accused of having sex with a 14-year-old boy who had worked for her at rental properties that she and her then husband owned. Yeah, pretty freaking serious. Well, Tanya took a plea deal and pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct and was put on the sex offender list. And shortly after the allegations surfaced, Tanya's then husband, filed for divorce, and he was granted custody of their 2 daughters. Now, by the way, this was no secret to John Skelton, all right, or anyone else for that matter. It is not something that she kept secret. She owns up to what she did, and she has no problem really talking about it. And he knew this when he met Tanya and married her and had kids with her, despite that. I think it's kind of important to know, as you'll find out more later, but especially why the idea of just getting up and moving to Florida wasn't much of a realistic plan for Tanya, because then you got to go put yourself on some lists. And I'm sure it's a whole thing. I mean, being a registered sex offender isn't going to make the process a very easy one, as it should be, obviously. And as I said, she did tell John that she would think about it and look into it. And as far as Tanya was concerned, that was the end of the whole Florida talk. I mean, it would probably take a while to just up and go anyway with that kind of record. So on the following Monday, September 13th, when Tanya got a phone call from the boys' school, she was very caught off guard. That morning, John had left for work like normal. He said he would be back home around noon, and Tanya said the 2 of them would discuss the Florida thing then. Tanya took the boys to school and then went and ran errands with one of her older daughters. Now, when Tanya got back home, she noticed there was a message on the answering machine from the school, which she thought was kind of weird that they would call the home phone and not her cell phone. And the message was from a secretary saying that she was a little confused because when Tanya brought the boys to school, she had also brought medicine for the school to administer during the day. But not long after the school day began, John had come in, signed the boys out, and said that they were going on a family vacation. Not great. So Tanya immediately called John, who was being a lot of vague about his and the boys' whereabouts. He told her that he and the boys were going to go on a vacation to Florida and that she said she didn't want to go. So he left without her. She was obviously very confused as he had specifically talked to her about moving there, not a vacation. Okay. And clearly she took the boys to school. So no vacation. Now, Tanya then got a hold of Chief Larry Weeks at the Morenci police station. Now, Chief Weeks offered to mediate a discussion between John and Tanya. The chief had gotten a hold of John, who just so happened to still be in the area. Why, you ask? That's a great question. Because John had set up a meeting with a family law attorney. Doesn't sound like this was a little no big deal family vacay to me. Because who is like, oh, yeah, we're taking a vacation, but first I'm going to book an appointment with a lawyer, a family law lawyer. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. Now, even though John was seeing a lawyer, he didn't want anyone to focus on that part. Nope, didn't want to talk about that. He told Chief Weeks that he was taking the boys on vacation because they had never been to Florida. Now, remember, this is in the middle of September. The boys have already started the school year. So, taking a whole month off school for a vacation doesn't really sound very realistic, especially at the boys' young age. Like, who goes on a month-long vacation at the beginning of the school year? It's crazy. So, when asked about the big red issue, he said, "Oh, I'll just enroll them in a school down there." What? That's not how that works, John. And then while he had them enrolled on his vacation, he's going to look for a job while Tanya could stay up in Michigan and do all the necessary paperwork she needed to move down to Florida. You know, what a great plan that is. It doesn't even make any sense. And you'll soon find that most of the stories John likes to tell don't make a lot of sense when you really think about them. And you guys, that's going to happen a lot. A lot. So, in an attempt to reason with John and hopefully keep him in the area, Tanya said that he wouldn't be able to enroll the boys into school down there without their birth certificates and social security numbers. Like all adult parents know you need to enroll kids in school. It's pretty obvious. Okay. Now, so she's like, hey, you kind of need these things, right? So Tanya was also trying to stall the conversation because at the same time as Chief Weeks has him on the phone, her two adult daughters went to a different family lawyer on Tanya's behalf. I'm sorry, went to a family lawyer on Tanya's behalf. The only legal way that Tanya could keep him from taking the kids was to file for divorce and ask for emergency custody. It's the only way she was going to stop him from leaving the state with the kids. So while that lawyer and the girls were getting the divorce paperwork drawn up and ready to file, Tanya had convinced John to meet her at the house and that she would get the boys' documents together for him, trying to just delay. And John said, okay. So once John arrived, Tanya kept up the charade. She was having a hard time finding them, looking through every cabinet, drawer, every pile of papers as she waited for her daughters to arrive with the divorce custody papers, to serve John and prevent him from leaving the state with the boys. I mean, she knew exactly where those documents were, according to her. But she's like, I don't know where they could be. We have all this stuff. So then John got a phone call while he's at the house. He's at the house. The boys are at the house. She's at the house, just so everyone knows who's there. Now, on the phone was the attorney he was supposed to have that meeting with at 4:00. I'll say this too. Let me pause here for a second. So she drops the boys off early in the morning. He's supposed to come home at noon. He doesn't. She has the message from the secretary that he picked up the kids. And he just decided to pick them up early and stick around until this appointment at 4. Like, that sounds, why would you do that? But okay. Okay. So, anyway, this lawyer was calling John to let him know that he had to cancel their 4 o'clock appointment and that he could no longer represent him because he had been officially retained by Tanya. Yes. Yes. Apparently, though, this really was a mere coincidence that they both were going after the same lawyer. It's not like there was just like one lawyer in town. They said there was like hundreds, but I don't see how. But either way, he had not spoken to that lawyer. So I guess there wasn't a conflict of interest there. Now, John was pissed. I mean, I'd be probably pissed as well, but he was up to no good. So, and he knew that he could not stick around and needed to leave before he got served the papers. I love that. Sorry, not sorry. The 5-year-old Tanner was in the house while the older two, Andrew and Alexander, were playing in the yard. John began yelling at the boys, telling them to get in the car and that their mother had been lying to them all. Now, Tanya's friend that was there with her held Tanner from going outside, but he was crying as he watched his brothers, who were also crying, get in the car. And once the boys were in the car, John took off, nearly running over Tanya's sister. So he was getting the hell out of Dodge. So had he just left a minute later, just a minute, Tanya's daughters and the officer would have arrived and served him the papers, which would have meant he was breaking the law by taking them out of Michigan. You know, so even though the judge signed the papers of the emergency custody, all of that, since John wasn't served, there wasn't a whole lot legally that technically could be done at this point. So John drove straight through the night to Florida. Now, the next day was Tanya's birthday because, why not, take the kid. Oh, yeah, Pam, you're going to get pissed. All right. It's sad and you're going to get pissed. Okay. So it's Tanya's birthday and he was so nice and thoughtful. He let Andrew and Alexander call her. Like what an asshole time to take the kids when her birthday's the very next day. I mean, I'm just saying. Now, the boys wished her a happy birthday and expecting to hear that they were at John's parents' house, but instead, they told her that they were at Daddy's friend's Hillary's house and that her and her daughter had been taking them swimming. Now, Tanya knew of Hillary because when John returned back home from that class reunion he just went to, he told Tanya all about her. So she managed to find Hillary's address and information and immediately got a hold of her lawyer to see what she needed to do to get her boys back. So the next morning, Tanya, her mother, and her 2 daughters drove to Jacksonville, Florida, with custody papers in hand. Now, this wasn't some easy pick up the kids and go situation. That's not how that works. It wouldn't be until Friday that Jacksonville officers would be able to escort them and formally remove the children from John's custody. They needed the police presence to do that. Well, hello, Shoshana. Glad you're here too, babe. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I think you'll enjoy it here. They're a lot of fun. All right. So even though the boys were now in Tanya's custody, they were not allowed to leave the area in Jacksonville until going in front of a Jacksonville judge. All right. So they had to stay some extra time. Both Tanya and John showed up to the court in Florida with lawyers in tow. Of course, the first thing John's attorney brings up is Tanya's sex offender status as to why she shouldn't have custody of the boys. Okay. Oh, hi, Amos.
Hi, because he's a douchebag.
He is. He
sorry, not sorry. I thought I'd come on and just, keep you company.
Okay. I love that. Well, welcome everybody who doesn't get to see Amos very often. here she is running the show
Hi.
for me. um, all right. So then, but you see, Tanya had already told her attorney about the prior offense. So they were ready. Because again, Tanya was very open about, she did not try to hide the fact of her status or anything like that. So, quote, Mr. Skelton, you knew this when you met her. You knew this when you got married. You knew this when you had children with her. And it never was an issue. Am I correct? Is what the lawyer asked him in court. So the decision was made that everyone was to immediately leave Florida. All right. I don't know how hard it is to get kicked out of the state of Florida, but they did. They were like, all y'all go back. You're too crazy for Florida, apparently.
Do not
So-
pass go. Just go
Yeah.
right.
Just go, please, and thank you.
Get out.
So it was decided that Tanya and John would have joint custody as they traveled through every state between Florida and Ohio. But once they crossed over the border of Michigan, Tanya would then have sole custody of the boys until their next court hearing.
I wonder how that car ride went.
Right? Did she even let him have the boys in his car? Or I don't know.
Like, did he follow her? Did she follow? I mean, like, what was that like?
That's a long
Did
ass
they go
drive.
different paths? I mean, there's different ways. I imagine that was a stressful drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she was also with her mom and sister.
Mhm.
Maybe he had to take the boys because of maybe they didn't have room. I don't know. But awkward.
Very.
Very awkward. So Tanya would move with her boys into her daughter's empty house just 2 blocks away from the Skelton family home where John stayed. Unfortunately, during the fall, the houses were so close that if he stood in a certain area, he would be able to see into her backyard. So they are very close. But then, she could easily see what was happening over at his place as well. So they both could
I mean, talk about small town, right?
Right. Right. Oh my goodness. So now in Michigan court, John would, of course, bring up her sex offense conviction and accuse her of sexual, emotional, and verbal abuse of the boys. And then at the same time, asking her if she ever thought that they could be the couple they once were again. It's a little confusing, John.
Hell
A little
no.
confusing. By the way, you should know there was nothing found. No, they did investigations. None of those accusations were proven to be true. Also, again, if you think a monster is doing this to your kids, why would you care about getting back together with them?
Mhm.
Like, come on, John. Come on.
He was grasping.
Oh, yeah.
Things were
Oh,
going
yeah.
his way, and so he was grasping at everything he could possibly throw.
Which, don't get me wrong, if I was in his position, I would bring that up to the court. It's a pretty, valid reason. He's not wrong, but it wasn't actually happening. It was
No.
it was out of spite that he
Correct.
was doing it, and that's not great after you just basically kidnap the children. So, Now Tanya knew the marriage was over. How was she supposed to trust him again? Because I know I sure as shit wouldn't. Like, you just took our kids out of school, tried to take them and move to Florida, lie about it. Crazy. No, thank you. Right? So she knew the boys were going to need some counseling after everything they went through and would go through, during the divorce, because they are ugly. Divorces are. And this one sounds like it was going to be real ugly too. Oh, I just could not get over how freaking
I know.
cute they are. Oh, those little babies. Oh, I hate this story so much.
I know, but it's close to heart for here. Because being in Michigan, it's always in the back of my mind.
I know. So She told John, since the boys were probably going to be doing therapy, that she would agree to go to couples counseling with him to see if there was anything that could be saved. Which really,
She's
she was
doing
just
the right things,
doing the right
right?
things. She's placating him, trying to be nice, trying to keep him, I think, level-headed so he didn't just freaking take off with the kids again,
Right.
but okay. And also from the legal perspective, she's doing all of the things she can to make sure to go about doing all of the appropriate things, because in my opinion, with the sex offender status, she would have to prove her ability to be a good mother far, far more than a normal mother would. Like
Absolutely.
she's got to be squeaky freaking clean. To which she was proven that she was. Okay. Now, after a few conversations with her lawyer, that they agreed that in the eyes of the judge, it was going to look very favorable on Tanya, if she offered some of her parenting time to John, because he still had no rights to see the boys because he up and took them. She had emergency custody. So she's like, all right, fine. I'll let you have him a little bit of the time, you know. When asked if she
Again,
was worried if he would take off with the children again, Tanya said, he already knew that I'm not afraid to follow you wherever you go. I will follow you. You will be held accountable. So I wasn't afraid that he was going to take off with them again. I mean, yeah, she
that's
followed
fair.
him all the way down there,
Mhm.
So, but, again, she's trying to do what she thinks is the right things to do by her boys, you know? Because she could have easily been like, nope, no,
She would have
sir.
had every right to at that point.
I mean, yeah.
So,
All right. So let's get to Thanksgiving 2010. Remember all that stuff I just told you? September 2010, just a couple of months before Thanksgiving. All right. So for the next month and a half, things seemed to be going along as well as they could, considering the ongoing divorce custody case. Thanksgiving was soon approaching, and even though the holidays can make things extra contentious, the two managed to agree on a schedule for it. Now, on Wednesday, November 24th, the boys would be with Tanya's parents at their house, where John would pick them up and keep them until 3 p.m. on Friday, November 26th. So he's going to have them the whole Thanksgiving holiday, pretty much. Now, although he agreed to the plan, he, of course, wanted more time with the kids. Well, when Tanya wouldn't give it to him the weekend before Thanksgiving, when he had them, he proceeded to tell the boys, who again are 5, 7, and 9, about Tanya's criminal past, what she did, and her time in jail, which is wildly inappropriate for as young as these boys are, in my opinion. Like that was just done out of, I don't think he thought about how that could affect them in any way, shape, or form. Because
well,
that's crazy.
he clearly is not in his right mind, but
No, he's not. But it's just, you're starting to see how much John just cares about himself and not how it affects literally anyone. All right.
not even his own children.
Not even his own children. No. Okay. So, and listen, Tanya was not happy because when the boys came back to her, the boys had a lot of questions for her and were afraid that she would be taken away from them and sent back to jail. That's why you can't just go telling little kids shit.
Right.
That's not appropriate, John. Oh, this guy, you guys.
Dumbass.
This guy. All right. So she was furious, but managed to stay calm and decided to take the high road and still abide by the holiday arrangements that were agreed upon. Better person than I am. Tanya had no idea, though, that Wednesday would be the last time she would see her little boys. Oh, buckle up, guys. So, at some point, during that time that he has the boys, John calls Tanya. Now, during the call, Tanya did hear the boys in the background playing video games. Sounded like they were having a lot of fun. She could hear their voices. They were, doing brother stuff. And John was asking her all of these questions, like tons of questions about their relationship. If things were going to work out between them, if, why can't we just get back together? We've done counseling. They've been to 3 sessions, you guys. And he was like, are we fixed now? What? First of all, what?
Dude.
3 1-hour sessions. You think, thanks, I'm cured? Like, what, sir? Yeah, y'all, you're going to really hate this guy. Okay. As a matter of fact, Tanya says, I said, John, I don't know, because now there's 2 things you have done that have betrayed, broken my trust, and have hurt me beyond anything you will ever know. Again, taking them to Florida, stealing them and taking them to Florida.
Kidnapping them
without her knowing anything about it. And then, of course, telling the children and putting the children in a state like that. Like, I would have been pissed too. I don't blame her. I don't blame her. All right.
I would have had worse words for him, just saying.
Right? I would have been yelling him from my window, knowing he could hear. Okay. So Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, as it's known here in the States, Tanya sent a text to John asking him if it was okay if she got the boys at noon instead of the agreed upon 3 p.m. But sound effects.
Oh, I didn't know there were sound effects. I'm sorry.
That's okay. One of those crazy people who don't have their phone on vibrate. Ugh. Anyway, so what should have been a few short and sweet messages turned into hours of John being very evasive and giving Tanya the runaround. So let's go through these excuses, shall we? Excuse number 1. John replied back that he would love to, but he and the boys weren't home. Okay. Now, remember, they can literally see each other's houses, okay? It is fall. There's no leaves on the trees in November in Michigan. They're gone. All right, so you can easily see through each other's house. And Tanya can clearly see that his blue van was still in front of the house. That blue van. All right, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Looks like he's home and missing a gas hub cover thing. Production value, 100%. Nailing it. We're professionals. Now, excuse number 2. All right. When asked about the van still being at the house, John tells her that the boys weren't there, but he was home because he had things he was doing around the house, and that the boys had stayed the night with his friend, Joanne Taylor, and her family. He tells her that he'll see if they can get the kids back earlier for her. Okay. Sure. Now, excuse 3. He then tells Tanya that, you know what, he hasn't been exactly honest with her. Okay. I know. Everyone prepare your shocked Pikachu faces for the rest of the episode. All right. So he hasn't been exactly honest with her. The boys aren't with him, and they are with Joanne, but that's because he got hurt and was on his way to the hospital in Toledo, Ohio, because he thought he broke his foot. Now, again, you guys remember this is on the border of Michigan and Ohio. The fact that he went to the hospital in Ohio, it's a small area. It's probably the closest main
Toledo
hospital.
is probably the closest bigger city.
Yeah, but it's in a whole different state. So insurance-wise, I don't really know how that works. But
a lot of places on borders like that.
That's what I was going to say.
They
do make exceptions, because I grew up on the border of Ohio and Indiana. Like literally, the state line separated. part of the town. So like one side was Ohio and the other side was in Indiana. And when I was younger, Indiana didn't change time for daylight savings time. So it would be like, is the holidays like, are you talking Ohio time or Indiana time? Ohio time, Indiana time. It was ridiculous. Oh, good. I'm glad my voice is soothing to you, Teri, and I'm glad you're feeling better. All
We
right.
won't get into time zones though, because we don't do time zones here.
No, we don't. We spent like an hour today being like, I don't know what time court starts. We don't know.
It's okay. We don't know what time zone we're in either. That's all right.
No. Right. So, okay. So he's like, oh, I'm on my way to the hospital. I think I broke my foot. And all right. At this point, Tanya just wants to know when she, meaning Joanne, is supposed to bring the boys back to town. And instead of dropping the boys off at his house, like he said Joanne was going to do, if maybe he could just get a hold of Joanne and have her drop them off to her, because she's doing a billion things. I think doing her family's side's Thanksgiving that day. So she's like trying to prep stuff and trying to figure out who's bringing the kids during the holidays it's a nightmare, right? So she's like, can you just work it out for me? Like, I don't really care what's going on. Just bring my kids. All right. So don't worry, though. John has another excuse. Prepare yourselves. John says he doesn't have Joanne's number with him. What? Sir? What do you mean?
This is your friend?
This is your friend. It is
who you gave your
2010.
kids to, and you don't have her number.
That's right. Does not have Joanne's number. So, Tanya is like, okay, well, tell me where it is. Because he tells her, like, he has it written down somewhere. Oh, I don't have it in my phone. It's written down or whatever, right? So she's like, okay, just tell me where it is. I'll go to the house and get it, right? But of course, John said, oh, he didn't know where it was. And, just with each and every word, making things more and more confusing. Okay. Now,
that he's good at making things confusing.
Yes, hold on. I'm going to take just a quick little break here and refill my wine cup. It's wine, not me peeing, for our podcast listeners who sometimes question if that's happening. Casey Anthony Nanny situation, very similar indeed. So let's find out more, right? So now Tanya knew this Joanne lady, but also didn't know her at the same time. Okay. So several months earlier, John had told her this story. Okay. How he helped this Taylor family out on the side of the road when he was driving his rig, because that's what he does. He's a truck driver. And that they exchanged information and planned on staying in touch. All right. So this husband and wife and kids, he helped them out, and now they're going to be besties. Okay, sure. Because that's what happens. Now, Tanya had also belonged to this for moms only social media site, for a year or so before all this, right? And this Joanne Taylor sent her a friend request, and the two began talking. But I don't think they were super besties or stuff, but they did have conversations, right? So she knew Joanne online, but she'd never met anyone from this family at all. Right, Sam? I mean, don't get me wrong. She's being a little suspicious here, but oh, what kind of wine am I drinking tonight? Oh, good question, Kelly. I am drinking Dark Horse Sauvignon Blanc. It's delicious. I love it. I know it's a higher percentage than I'm usually drinking, but I don't know where that is. So it must be working, right, guys? It doesn't even say on here. Isn't it supposed to say the percentage on here?
Llama, put the bottle down.
Put the bottle down. I'm telling you, it doesn't say. Bro Llama says 13%. It literally does not have a number on there unless you're recycling. But anyway, doesn't matter. It is good. It's quite good. Highly recommend it. It's not very sweet. It's not very dry. All right. So, all right, she's She hasn't met these people in real life, but she has had some conversations with Joanne online. Now, after what John pulled with his trip to Florida in September, Tanya was very suspicious of his behavior. Okay. Don't think she was just being like, I mean, she was suspicious the whole day, but she kept being like, okay, whatever. But at this point, she called her lawyer. Okay. Her lawyer told her to stay calm, don't freak out. That doesn't mean he's trying to steal the kids again. Okay. And that she should wait until 3:15 or 3:20 p.m. before contacting the authorities, because that's when they had arranged to drop him off. But I mean, he didn't legally have to see them then, so they could have done it sooner. But anyway, so 3:00 would come and go, and Joanne never showed up with the boys. At 3:01, Friday, November 26, 2010, Tanya called the Morenci police, but no one answered the phone. Mm-hmm. Now, you guys, remember, this is a small town, okay? I know some towns where the police only work from like 8 to 5. Like, there's nobody on patrol at night because it's so small and they don't have a staff. And I'm like, oh, so people just like don't commit crime or emergencies at night in these towns? Like, what is happening? But I don't know how many people worked at this police department, but I would guesstimate to like maybe like 10 people total. Okay. It's only a town of, I think, maybe 2,500 people. It's real small, y'all. So, and I doubt everyone there was like full time. So they didn't answer. So then Tanya reached out to the Michigan State Police, who basically was like, yeah, sorry, you're going to have to get a hold of Morenci. To which she was like,
That's really disappointing, though.
I know. To like, oh, I'm sorry. They probably have like one freaking, 2 cops, and I can't get a hold of them. But okay. So
I would be driving around town to find one.
Well, that's very close to what happened, because she is extremely frustrated and scared and panicking. So Tanya's dad and brother-in-law drove around town to locate any cop they could find. They went searching for the police themselves to chase him down. Right? So meanwhile, Tanya's lawyer told her that under no circumstances is she to go into John's house and to wait for the police to arrive. Right? Well, her sister, who was with her, was like, fuck it. They can take me to jail. I'm going in.
You go, sister.
Yeah. The boys could be in there, right?
Right.
Like, I don't blame her. I'd be like, fine, take me to jail. I don't care.
I mean, technically, Tanya didn't go. Her sister did.
That's right.
So
that's right. All right. So Tanya's sister goes over there. She tries to get the door open, but something is wedged between the door and the wall. So she can't get in. All right. She's not wanting to break any windows, because that'll probably definitely get you in legal trouble. But she tried to get in and she didn't. All right. So while the sister's doing that, sorry, my nose is itchy. My hair got in there. Tanya then decided she was going to call the hospital to see if John was even actually there. Did he just take off with the kids again and somewhere else? Was he lying about being in the hospital? And since they were still legally married, she was able to get some information. And the nurse told her what was actually going on with John. So John had come in early that morning because he thought his foot was broken and that he hurt it when he tried to hang himself just a few hours before. Oh, what? Yes. There was no sighting of the boys ever being with him at the hospital at all. So, I mean, at this point, Tanya is freaking the fuck out. Who wouldn't be? I'd be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So John's tried to kill himself. Nothing he's saying is making any sense. The boys are apparently with this woman, Joanne, who she knows next to nothing about. No phone number, no car she drove, no address where she lived. The police aren't reachable, and her sister couldn't get into the house. Did John hurt the boys? Were they lying dead inside the house? Like, oh my God, I could not imagine just the panic that she must have been going through, and her family as well going through, because they're all there, together.
Right.
Right. So let me take a drink real quick. All nonchalant. Right. All right. So that was a big drink.
Exactly. That's why there's so many question marks here. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yes, right? It's crazy. So when police questioned John, he told them that he believed that Tanya was sexually, emotionally, and verbally abusive to the boys. Well, we've heard this before, John. So, though you should know that, again, he never had any evidence of her doing any of those things, nor given any story of how he became aware that this was happening. There was nothing, just his word, which, as we've learned so far, is very questionable, right? So the police talked to him, and this is what he says, okay? He said, buckle up, guys. He gave them to an underground group that would keep them safe and off the grid. The only name he gave them was Joanne Taylor, though eventually he admitted that he actually didn't know who had the boys, how to contact them, or where they could possibly be. But he maintained that they were safe and that he didn't kill them, guys. He didn't. All right. So let's just pause there for a second. Okay. He's accusing Tanya of doing horrible things to the boys. All right. And he believed that they were so unsafe with Tanya. And, he was able to hide the boys with an underground group for their safety. Why would he attempt suicide? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
You wouldn't.
Right?
You wouldn't.
Make that make sense. Because if he did what he said he was going to do, if that was true, wouldn't he be happy in his endeavor to hide the boys? Why lie, deceive, misdirect, and withhold information? The math ain't mathin', friends. The math ain't mathin'. We can do that kind of math here, and it's not adding up.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is crap.
Right? Now, if you're already thinking this guy's story sounds like a whole lot of bullshit, well, you're in luck, because now we're going to go into some of the evidence that was found during the searches. Right, Lady in Gray? Make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense. All right, so let's get into the searches and evidence, shall we? All right, let me take a big old drink here. All right. So once the police finally arrived at the house, they went in. Now, the inside was essentially destroyed. All right. Destroyed the inside of this house. There's broken cabinets and glass all over the floor. Cords to appliances were cut. A solid oak corner curio cabinet was knocked over. Shelves smashed. John's bed, the one he previously shared with Tanya, had been stabbed and slashed about every 3 inches. Yeah. What? They also found the rope from his suicide attempt still hanging from the second floor banister. A Bible was opened to a highlighted verse, and a suicide note, well, what they believe to be one, found in a notebook. Now, there were also multiple toe straps that were also found that had been cut. So someone with a whole lot of hate and anger had been in that house. All right. John made sure to fuck everything up. All right. Basically, we're going to get divorced. Well, you're not getting, I'm going to ruin everything that we have. Okay. Now, the boys were not there. Okay. And even though the inside was a mess and a disaster, There did not seem to be any obvious signs of a murder taking place in the house. Nothing along those lines. Also, in case you were wondering, because it is November in Michigan, I don't think I put this in here, but I think the boys' coats, their winter coats were still in the house. And listen, in Michigan, even that lowest part of Michigan, you are not going without a coat in November. And it
No.
was cold that day. It was definitely coat worthy. So, okay. So that was the inside of the house.
I mean, I'm sitting in Michigan right now, and I'm in my house with a hoodie on.
Right?
Just saying.
Right? He did have a big boy temper tantrum. Yes, he did. All right. So on Thanksgiving Day, there were some highly suspicious searches on John's computer. Because of course there was. Particularly searches related to killing someone with rat poison and how to break someone's neck with your hands. Just your normal everyday searches when you have your kids on Thanksgiving. Sure. Now, what's John's excuse for those? Well, let's hear about it, guys. John would tell the police that those particular searches were done because he and the boys had watched a karate movie that night. Oh, and they had asked him about a specific scene where someone slips and breaks their neck, which doesn't match with what was searched, like verbatim, but okay. So he said that he searched with them on the computer about this neck-breaking scene, and he said that they had a great time, that it was a beautiful memory. I know when I teach my kid about how to break necks, it's the most beautiful memory I have. How about you, Amy?
I just
Also,
can't even with this guy. I mean,
what karate movie? I mean, it can't be like Three Ninjas. I don't think they break anybody's neck in Three Ninjas. Does that happen in Karate Kid? Maybe it's Bloodsport. I don't know. I don't know what movie they're referring to, but either way, I do not believe.
John doesn't either because it didn't happen.
Right? I mean, okay.
This
So
way.
not only were those searches not great for him, John had also made a Facebook post on Thanksgiving night that said, quote, "May God and Tanya forgive me." That's pretty suspicious there, John.
Sus.
What does that even mean? All right. So when asked why he wrote that, he said it was because he was spiraling out of control and depressed, and that Tanya was playing with his emotions. Sure, blame her for your inability to be a grown-ass man. But sure, John. Okay. Enter the fist. Oh boy. Yes, Sam. All the red flags, right? All right. Now, investigators exhausted all efforts in trying to find this Joanne Taylor woman. But the only thing they had as proof of her existence was that online account that Tanya talked about in the mom only group that she had been talking to for several months. Well, guess what, guys? Shock Pikachu face. It was soon discovered that it wasn't a woman named Joanne that she had been talking with. No, because the account's activity was traced back to none other than John. What? Oh my goodness. Yes. John was posing as Joanne. And listen, they searched everywhere for this Joanne lady. They found nothing. Nothing. No one by that name at all. So,
I mean, again, because she didn't exist. Because he's a liar.
He's a liar. So, when detectives received John's cell phone information, they uncovered that around 4:30 a.m. on Friday, November 26, 2010, 4:30 a.m., guys, John's cell phone tracked heading south into Ohio. Again, it's literally like 1 mile away from the border, so it's not too crazy. Okay. Now, at around 5 a.m., he is near Holiday City, Ohio. Then the cell phone tracking then went dead, which we all know what that means. Somebody
Right?
turned their phone off. I mean, could it have died? Sure, but like, who's leaving at 4:30 in the morning with an almost dead phone? And you don't have a charger,
I was
and
gonna
you're
say,
get
come
out of
on.
here.
Whatever. He's a truck driver. You know he has a charger.
Exactly. Yes,
Come
Amy.
on.
Exactly. So he turned it off. Okay. Now, his
Mhm.
phone then turned back on at around 6:46 a.m. But by then, John had already made it back to his home in Morenci, Michigan. So there is approximately a 2-hour and 15-minute window where they have no idea if the boys were with him, what was he doing that early, going in this area. Okay, this is all very rural area, guys. Very rural. Um, so not great. So numerous search parties were sent out, both in Michigan and Ohio. And as I said, these areas are super rural. There's nothing but farmland as far as you can see. There were endless places that he could have hidden or buried the boys' bodies. Like, unbelievable. Unfortunately, though, nothing was ever found. There was an interesting tip, though, that came in. One that would offer a little bit of hope, and that maybe John wasn't lying about a woman having the boys after all. Now, since John's phone was in Ohio those early hours of the morning on Friday, November 26th, most of the searches had been in that area and along the Ohio Turnpike. And the FBI were pulling surveillance from any and all businesses they could find. The FBI was in Morenci the next day, by the way. They arrived Saturday morning, I do believe. So now, two women, Teri Kaufman, owner of a donut shop, and Sandy Jones, went to the police after hearing the news and realizing that on the Sunday after Thanksgiving, a woman and 3 young boys came into her donut shop and were acting a little strange. Now, this donut shop did not have any cameras because it was a privately owned small rinky-dink donut shop. It's not a surprise they don't have security cameras, guys.
Right.
Okay, that's not really that big of a surprise for there. But they did say that the woman looked to be in her 40s, haggard and tired looking, and she seemed to have rushed the boys inside the door and avoided making contact with anyone. They said she even called one of the boys Tanner. And the two women said everything about that interaction was so strange that it stuck out when they heard several days later about the disappearance of these boys, because they did not know that on Sunday when this occurred. So, I mean, they sound credible, but is it the same woman with the 3 boys? Unfortunately, we don't know.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I don't either. But we've heard crazier things.
I guess.
So I don't think they were being like making things up.
Oh, no, I don't believe that either.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, in years following the disappearance of the Skelton brothers, hundreds of tips, searches, and interviews have been conducted in the hopes of finding the boys. This case has received not only local media attention, but also national attention consistently for 15 years with no results. Like, I think every true crime show has covered this case and channels as well.
Mm-hmm.
All of the information provided by the last person to see the boys, John Skelton, leads investigators to believe that John Skelton killed his sons. I mean,
Sadly.
I don't know how you don't come to that conclusion. I know. Look at those sweet, sweet baby faces. Yes, 15 years. This Thanksgiving will be 15 years. Now, back at the Ohio hospital where John was being treated for his broken foot, he was put on a 72-hour psych hold for his failed suicide attempt, right? Now, before being released, though, he was arrested and charged with 3 counts of parental kidnapping and 3 counts of unlawful imprisonment of his son. And once he was extradited to Michigan, was given a $30 million bond. Whew, that's high.
I will say though, something happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
without a doubt,
he was held accountable for something, because so many missing person cases, it seems like there's suspect, but the person continues to live their life free and
that's
not
true.
be held like any kind of responsibility. Obviously, you got to have evidence and all that kind of stuff, but
this is one of the few that I know of where this not being able to turn them over happened. Well, except for Lori Vallow,
right?
when she couldn't turn the kids over, they arrested her. They don't do it very often.
Mm-mm.
So I am kind of glad that happened. Now, John pleaded no contest on July 28th, 2011, so the next summer, to the unlawful imprisonment charges after the prosecution dropped the kidnapping charges in lieu of a plea deal. Now, the judge sentenced him to a minimum 10 years, but added that John should serve the entire 15-year maximum. Excuse me. Oh, we got a llama burp. A live llama burp. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. The judge said, quote, "You should serve each and every day of this sentence so long as Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner are missing from their home." That's right. Now, at sentencing, John did what he seems to do best and blamed others for making him feel he needed to give his son to an organization to protect them from abuse, saying, quote, "I would have done things differently if I didn't think the system failed me." Sir. Okay. Quote, "Does he have the courage to finally tell the truth, or will he continue his cowardly ways?" said prosecutor Douglas Hartung. I mean, look how packed that courtroom is.
Yeah, this case was big. Still is.
Right. Now, Hartung also said that John told his father, John Sr., in a recorded telephone conversation from jail, that the 3 boys would walk into the courtroom during his final appearance and exonerate him. To which Hartung turned to John in this hearing and said, "We're ready. We're waiting. Where are they?" The boys
I don't know about you, but I like this prosecutor's
right
side eye.
Me too. So Glasser also said, I'm sorry. Whoops. Now, John Glasser, John's public defender, told the court that John has indicated he could bring his sons home if he was free. Quote, "He doesn't know where they're at this point. If he was out, he could make some contacts and try to locate them." Sir, those stretches. I know you got to do your job, but what? You're saying this stuff out loud? Okay.
Do you even believe the words that are coming out of your mouth?
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right. He doesn't know where they are or how to get a hold of them, but I think if he's out of here, he could probably figure it out. Okay, buddy. Now, Glaser also said that John was retracting his past claims that he attempted suicide after his son's disappearance. John's like, that is not what happened. I would like to say that I did not try to do that at all. Right. And here's the thing. That's what John told his own family after it happened. All right. Those were John's own words that he tried to hang himself. There was nobody else. All right. But of course, the judge was quick with the question about how his foot was broken then. Because, okay, so how'd you hurt your foot then if you didn't try to hang yourself? Well, Glazer, the attorney, responded with, quote, "We prefer not to give the facts on how he broke his foot." Sir, what? You don't want to give your facts because I think your client was doing something nefarious.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't think, I do think he tried to hurt him, kill himself.
Mm.
And what's the word I'm looking for? He cowered out of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I heard, I didn't put this in here because I had to let some stuff go because it was kind of long, but I did read that the rope itself was a thin rope and it was very long, that there was no way it was
Right.
going to actually go through with a guy his size. Like, it obviously wouldn't have worked. So whether or not that was a ruse,
That's what I think.
to explain his hurt foot, but no matter what, it wasn't going to do what John initially said it was intended to do. But don't worry, he's taking it back, so it never happened. So just ignore that. Don't worry about it. It's, yeah, don't do.
Well, I don't
worry
believe
about
a
it.
word that comes out of his mouth, so it doesn't matter.
No. Now, for the most part, John's kept quiet in prison in regards to the boys and where they are. He has not done that. So investigators would come in and ask him more questions every now and again. And he told them that he had wrapped each child in a blanket, gave them a stuffed animal, put them in his van, and then drove them away. Okay. But he also said that the children, quote, "the children will hibernate until they graduate." Yeah, I don't like, I bet he thought he was so clever. He's like, "Oh, listen to this. It rhymes." But also, that's a weird fucking thing to say, John. What a weird thing. Yes, Sam's Echo is here. Hi, Sam's Echo. Now, most of the time, he said nothing new, and more often than not, he would just shut down the second the boys were brought up. He's like, "I'll talk about anything but that." You know, the whole reason why you're in jail in the first place. But okay. Now, here are, oh, I'm sorry. He would, however, talk with NBC Detroit's Sandra Hawley several times over the years.
Of course.
And of course. Now, here is some of the cliff notes and some of the quotes from those interviews. They're kind of repetitive, but look for the subtle changes in the stories as the years go by. Okay. So John, one point is, John still claimed that he never hurt the boys, nor has he heard from them, and that they were given to a foster family, saying the kids were better off with them. So we went from underground organization to a foster family.
Oh, you forgot the friend first.
Oh, right. First to a friend because they're just staying the night, and then Joanne is part of an organization.
Yep.
And now they just went to a foster family. It's all fine. Okay. He also said that he had originally met 4 people. Joanne,
This
Virgil.
guy.
I know. All right. There's Joanne, Virgil, Sue, and Elijah. Okay. All right. He knew, he said in this interview, he said he knew that these were not their real names, that they were part of what he would call the underground sanctuary. Oh, a new name with new people added to the story, because that makes sense. Okay. Now, he said that he had met those 4 people at JD's truck stop in Niles, Michigan in September of 2010. It was then that he started the process of handing the boys over to them. So remember, in September 2010 was when he took the boys out of school and tried to move with them down to Florida, which is also when apparently he met these 4 people and he was like, "Yep, I'm going to start the process now of handing them over, even though he talked about moving to Florida and enrolling them in school there. Okay, John, sure. Instead of the sure Jan meme, we should just do sure John. Sure.
You're right. I mean, it's very fitting.
Right? Now, he also said that these 4 of the underground sanctuary group, he gave them his home address, okay? These strangers he met at a truck stop, he gave them his whole home address so they could stop by and meet the boys, and that apparently these 4 people actually eventually did that. I mean, what?
This is such bullshit.
If this is true, you, sir, are an idiot.
Right?
Like, you just meet 4 randos at a truck stop named JD's, and you're like, you know what? You'd be a good fit to take care of my 3 sons. How about, here's my address. How about you stop by, strangers? Like,
I mean,
who does that?
Any real trucker is not going to trust somebody that they meet at a truck stop. I mean, you know what I mean. Not enough to give your kids over.
No.
Crying out loud.
Oh, you want an underground group? Maybe, Teri. Maybe. All right. So what else did he say in these interviews? Don't worry, guys. There's plenty more. Okay. So those are some stories he said. He also said that he allowed the boys to sleep over with these new friends of his on Thanksgiving. Okay. He thought the sleepover would be a good trial run and that he would get them back right afterwards. But he never saw the boys again. So you meet what sounds like 4 grown-ass adults at a truck stop. You give them your home address. They come over. They meet you and your kids. And you're like, you know what? How about my 3 sons, the oldest is 9, stays with you guys on a family holiday, see if it works out, and bring them back in the morning. What are you even saying, sir? Oh, silent cut this as free hugs. Right? I mean, I can't believe he says this with a straight face. Like, I can't. It's crazy to me. But don't worry, there's more.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
There's so much more. So then he said that this underground sanctuary organization that, has his kids knows what they're doing and that they cover their tracks and that they're either Amish or Mennonite or reorganized Mormons. He doesn't know, but it's definitely one of those 3. And don't worry, we will be talking about this part specifically very shortly because, wow.
I'm surprised he hasn't come right out and said that it was Lori Daybell that was joined here.
Right. Oh, it was her. I met her at a truck stop.
Yeah, that's the girl. That's the one. That was her.
Like, what? Okay. So then you give him there. You don't know what kind of group it is because you can't tell if it's Amish, Mennonite, or reorganized. Those are all very different groups of people. Okay, right, sir. Very different groups of people. Now, John then also said that he misses his sons and that once he is out of prison, you guys, once he's out, the people holding Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner will know how to reach him and how to get the kids back to him. Sir, I think they know how to reach you now. You have an inmate number, but it's not like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Wait, just buckle up, guys. All right.
Oh, Lady in Gray, you're going to freaking love this story.
So when he gets out, the people that have his children are going to contact him. Okay. I'm pretty sure your same phone number from 15 years ago doesn't work, John. How are they going to get a hold of you?
Right.
Now, he also says that he doesn't know if they're still in the area, but that his not knowing was by design. Okay. With the thought process being that, if he didn't know, then no one else would be able to know either. Obviously, right? Makes total sense. Super great when you give your children to somebody else and you're like, don't tell me anything because I might spill it. They might give me some like truth serum or something. I can't be trusted.
No, sir, you can't.
Right? And then he also said he mentioned that maybe that group that maybe they weren't, being so honest with him, and that maybe he had been duped. That's right. He said, "Well, I thought I was doing the right thing, but now I'm wondering if maybe they lied to me and they took the kids and they made a fool out of me." Okay?
Can you imagine being Tanya and having to hear all of this bullshit?
Is that the TV?
Yeah.
Have him close my door, please, and thank you. All right. So I don't know why they're listening to the TV so loud. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so they could have duped him, guys. He's a sucker. Oh my gosh. Now, according to John, on Thanksgiving night, he made the boys fried chicken and a homemade cake because happy Thanksgiving. Then they watched that karate movie we mentioned earlier that allegedly led to those questionable Google searches. Then at around 10 p.m., those underground sanctuary people who had been to his house 3 or 4 times before came and picked up the boys at 10 p.m. because that's a great time to pick up a 5, 7, and 9-year-old. Sure, why not? Okay. So they apparently come to pick up the boys at 10. He said he told Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner they were just going to go be on a farm with another family. Not forever, but just for a short time.
Until
and
they
that
graduated.
right? And that he watched them drive off in a van. Okay. He also said that this group had ties in Pennsylvania, but he knew they took them to a farm on the Ohio-Indiana border, and that he had blind faith they were all right. What? Oh my gosh, it doesn't make any sense. But there's more. There's more. Okay. When asked if he had a message he wanted to send to Tanya, he said, quote, "We loved each other for 10 years, and in that 10 years, we knew each other pretty well, and she knows her gut feeling and not what people tell her. They think I hurt those babies. I didn't hurt those babies at all. I was a victim, just like she was. They were taken from me too." The audacity, sir. What? You two are not the same. Now he's a victim, guys. He was duped by this underground society that he trusted to take his boys into hiding to protect them. And he's just as much of a victim as Tanya and everyone else because he wants to know what happened to his boys. But also, if he gets out of prison, they'll contact him and everything will be fine. Which story is it, John? Make it make sense. All right. And in another interview with a different reporter.
You should have wore your eyebrows for tonight.
I should have, right. And if it makes you feel any better, I was working on this with the eyebrows still on for like a day and a half. So maybe that's why it's written a little like, with
I was the
some
victim.
rage.
Whatever.
Right. Now, in an interview with another reporter, John said that he didn't want Tanya to lose faith, even though it turned into a murder investigation. The audacity of this fucking guy. I'll tell you what, I can't even.
Oh, I see
Don't
what's
worry.
coming up.
Don't worry, you guys. There's more. All right. So let's get into this. The boys are with the Amish story that John loves to tell. No poop,
Yes,
John, you're a
Sam.
certified absolute idiot and liar, pants on fire. Right? Right? All right. So I'm sure most of you have heard of the Amish, right? But most of you may have probably never interacted with or lived in close vicinity to them or have gotten stuck behind their horse and buggy on an impassable country road. Okay. I have. And oh my God, it's so slow, but you can't pass them because you don't want to spook the horse. Because believe it or not, there's accidents with Amish all of the time.
Yeah, there is a lot that happened here in Michigan. And And I feel rude if I pass them.
I know, right? Me too. I'm like,
I don't know.
but then it's just like this horse is just trotting along. And you're like,
And then they poop right in front of you. It's like, ooh,
right?
okay.
Now, there are over 411,000 Amish people in the United States, with 61% of them living in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, which is a large population. Okay. And while they live a very simple Orthodox life and have strict religious rules regarding how to conduct their lives, they aren't completely like removed from society. Okay. They do get like they read newspapers. They don't watch the news, but they read news. They do a lot of modern things, but also not really. Like if we had to do those, we'd be like, oh, we're still cave people. Okay. But, they go into towns, go to the
Yep.
store, they do all sorts of things. So they're not just like on some island somewhere. Okay. It's important to know. And that even though they are all over mostly northern and western Ohio, the most well-known place in Ohio is Holmes County. It's known as Amish country, where us English, because that's what they call us, can plan a whole day trip visiting their shops and buying their goods. And they're not as reclusive as many people would think. All right.
That's
And
like
they do,
Shipshawana, right?
huh?
Shipshawana.
What?
Isn't that what you're talking about?
In Holmes County? I mean, is that the name of the town? I don't know off the top of my head.
All I know is that I've had family that go down to Shipshawana.
Oh, could be. Could be.
So-
I mean, they're all over the place in their little group. Holmes County, though, is like the largest population of them. But like I'm from the west side of Ohio, and we had Amish people there, and that is not very close to Holmes County. So they're really kind of spread all over. So maybe.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to go look up Shipshawana.
No,
So I can
good luck
educate
spelling
myself.
that, because I've never even heard of that. Oh my goodness.
Really? Oh my goodness! I've heard of something you haven't. That's amazing.
I know, right?
Rabbit hole.
So unlike many other religious groups too, the Amish don't try to recruit or convert anyone. All right. Now there is a very, very, very small group that does called the Beachy Amish, but I will reserve my thoughts on that for a different time. Maybe a llama learns about, Lady in Gray already said it. Maybe a llama learns about, we'll put the Amish on there because I find them fascinating. I find the history, all of it very interesting. And do they have their own problems?
It's a
Yes.
place in Indiana, not Ohio.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense. They're very fascinating. Do they have their own problems? Yes. Every group has problems, but they're very, very interesting to learn about. Okay. So my point with telling you guys about the Amish, in case you're not familiar, is that the idea that an Amish family had taken in 3 small children to hide them for safekeeping, and that the Amish were keeping this all a secret for the last 15 years is just beyond extremely unlikely and next to impossible. All right. That's just not how it works. These are God-fearing, law-abiding citizens. They really, really are. Obviously, you see how strict they are about rules. Okay.
They're a tiger.
Yes. And even though they're kind of spread out, listen, they all know what's going on in other places. Okay. Again, they're not reclusive. This doesn't even make any sense. Okay. That's not how they work. That's not how any of this works. And I feel when John first used the Amish storyline, it was based on what he knew of the Amish, which comes across as nothing more than stereotypes and assumptions, because that just isn't, it just wouldn't be the case.
Perhaps he's watched a little too much reality TV.
That, and it's kind of just ignorance, and he should kind of know better because they are around that area. But I know people from my area who are still ignorant about the things they say. So, what are you going to do? Pam knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, Pam. See? Yes. Look at that.
I want to go visit now.
Oh, we should. They're lovely. They're lovely people, you know. So anyway, so that's, I feel like you guys just needed a little bit of backstory in case that's not really, something you're all that familiar with. So now, several years later, while in prison, John reached out for the first time to investigators, telling them that they needed to find a man named Mose Gingerich. All right. Excuse me. Oh, Rumspringa. That's Mose. Now, he said that they need to get a hold of Mose because that the people who have the boys had told him that it would be Mose who would help bring the boys back. Oh, this guy knows where the kids are. Interesting, right?
I thought he
Now,
said he didn't know how to get them, who to like.
now he
This
does.
man,
It's Mose. He's like, that guy, him. That's who I'm supposed to talk to. So, okay.
okay, John.
All right.
Sure,
So
John.
now it wasn't hard to find Mose Gingerich because he was a former TV personality who had television series and documentaries related to the Amish community. And also, for any fans of The Office who may be wondering if Mose Shroot was based on him, the answer is yes. Yes, the character Mose is based on the Mose I'm talking about. How funny is that? I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to be including that. Now, being a former, we should probably put up the other guy's face. Go back to the other guy. That's the Mose we're talking about, not the Office Mose. Now, being a former member of the Amish community, he and his wife helped people that were wanting to leave the Amish community and enter the real world, where he would offer them a place to live, assist them with learning technology, and ways to integrate into mainstream society. When he was interviewed by the police, he told them, Mose, this is, by the way, Mose is being interviewed by police. He told them that he had never heard of Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner or their story. He didn't even know they were missing. He doesn't even know anything about this, right? And that even though as an excommunicated member of the Amish community, Mose said that the Amish community would never, ever engage in what John was saying happened. They would never want the spotlight from the authorities and the media of something this magnitude would bring to their community. I mean, guys, they don't have TVs or anything. That is the last thing those people want, right?
Yeah, they don't want no damn media sleuth people come invading their lives.
No. And even Mose is like, this is impossible. It just literally would never happen for any reason. So the investigators then decided that they were going to have another interview with John, okay, except this time they were going to bring Mose with him. And guess what? John didn't know that. No, he did not, right? So when John saw Moses' face, he became visibly disturbed and acted as if he was going to throw up. Yep, that's right. They're like, oh, here's that guy. Here's that guy that you were talking about.
FBI said, fuck around and find out, is what they said.
Right? Like, oh, really? Okay. So they allowed Mose and John to talk, hoping that maybe Mose would be able to get some information about the Amish connection, anything really, right? It's a fair shot. So he said this, he said this to John, by the way, Mose did, quote, John, you mentioned an agency and mentioned that agency was supposed to get the boys to me. I want you to know, Mr. Skelton, that I never received those 3 boys. If you did give them to an adoption agency, there was a disconnect between them and me. Not only did I never receive them, but I've never even heard of them until 6 months ago. So,
he didn't.
You'll see. So that's when John started crying. Oh, of course he did. and saying that Mose was his last hope, and that was the only thing he had left. That he was always told that when he got out of jail, he could find Mose and contact him, and he would be able to tell John where the kids were. You guys, oh, poor John.
I'm trying
What
to
a
raise my
mess.
eyebrows for John.
Wow, you get those high up there. Oh my goodness. Now, Mose knew that all of this had to be bullshit. Okay. So he asked him some more questions, but didn't reveal like why he was asking them. He was like, I'm suspicious. So I'm just gonna see what's going on here, right? Very clever, Mose.
He's no dummy.
He is no dummy, that Mose. No. So he asked John, when did this organization tell him that he needed to find him to find the boys? All right. John said November 2010. So I'm guessing his story is, when they came to pick the boys up at 10 p.m., they said, hey, buddy, contact your Mose when you get out of prison, even though John wasn't even in custody. So I don't know what that's about. All right. So he says November 2010 is when these people said that. What Mose did not tell John was that in 2010, Mose had left the Amish community and was living off the grid in Missouri. He was not listed on any records anywhere, even on the internet, all right, for John or his organization to have found or known him. Like, there's no way, no way he could have heard Moses' name, right? And his TV shows didn't even come out until 2012. So, like, literally nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. And also, if he's like an he's trying to help people like leave the Amish community, why would he put 3 boys in the Amish community where he's trying to, that doesn't make any sense, John. You idiots. You idiots. Yes. Dum dum. Dum dum. I love that. We should just get a soundbite of me doing that. Dum dum. All right. Mose has TV shows. Yes, he does. And a few different ones and documentaries as well. They're all on his Wikipedia page. I don't know if I've seen any of them. Probably not. But he doesn't do them
I feel like
anymore.
I need to watch them now.
Yeah, why not? We should. You know, I love watching anything. I'll do it. All right. So John didn't know any of that. And he did not tell John, by the way. He did not give John any of that information. He kept that right in his pocket, right? Oh, and speaking of his TV shows, all right, he then asked John if the organization mentioned the name Cephas Yoder, to which John recognized the name and clearly, like, got very excited as if he wanted to talk about him. He was like, yeah. And then he caught himself and tried taking his excitement back. Now, little dum-dum John, okay. Oh, that dum-dum, right? So you see, Cephas Yoder was a very popular ex-Amish kid who had died in a car accident. And it was a very moving and touching story that Moses' TV series had covered, okay? A story that John, who had already been locked up for a few years at this point, would only know if he watched Moses' work, because nobody in the world who knew anything about Cephas until the show, because he also did not, like, it wasn't like he had a TikTok or something crazy. All right. Nobody knew who this kid really was. Right. So now Mose and Cephas' name would never come up in a conversation in 2010. All right. So John read the Amish news. Well, no, that's the thing. Cephas, I think it was a couple years after that before. And he was young too. I don't remember how old he was exactly, but like young, just leaving, I think, the community, right? So it should be noted also that the time John first brought up Moses' name, remember, he called the investigators. He's like, hey, guys, you might want to come talk to me because you need to find this, Mo's guy. He's the one you should be looking into, right?
2011.
2011 is when he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I think, his shows came out in 2012 was when he covered this story. I wonder if they were filming in 2011. I don't know. I don't even know what show that is. He had a few different ones. Now, anyway, back to this though. All right. So John first brought up Moses' name in the interview with police. That was around the same time he was taken out of segregation and placed in protective custody. What are the odds of that? Oh my goodness. Now, John, he had access to television, and at the time, oh my gosh, everybody shocked Pikachu faces ready? Thank you, Teri, for the super chat. I'll get to that in just a second. Moses' television series was being aired and available for John to view. What? Oh my goodness, of course. Now, later, because it's John would indicate that the entire story about Mo's Gingerich was yet another lie. This guy.
I'm so shocked.
So shocked. Go figure. He now has Moses, right? Again, thank you, Teri True Crime, for the super chat. Thank you. I hope you're feeling better, babes. We will check in with you after we're done here. We're almost done, I think. I don't even know what page I'm on. Okay, yeah, we're getting close. All right. There's really so much. I even left a lot of stuff out, to be honest, just because it wasn't like super essential. But boy, is there drama all over the place. I'll tell you that. All right. So on December 15th, 2017, 1,800 miles west of Morenci, Michigan, bone fragments of 3 children were found in a storage shed in Missoula, Montana. Okay. Experts determined that the bones belonged to 3 children between the ages of 2 and 10 years old and were sent to a lab for DNA testing. I don't know how these bones are just in this shed, but okay. Now, unfortunately, though, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, the bones were not those of the Skelton brothers. In fact, the bones were well over 100 years old. They couldn't match the bones to anyone. They don't know if, maybe they were dug up or something. They don't know.
I still want to know why they were there.
Because it sounds like somebody bought the house and they were like cleaning it out, and it sounded like it was like wrapped in a bag or something. So, but it was not the children. But I think it was like a good 6 months from the time that they found the bones to getting the results. So, they called Tanya when it happened to like warn her, and she had to live freaking 6 months without, oh gosh. This story has all the layers, you guys. So on December 12th, 2023, 2 years ago, the now Tanya Zovers filed a petition for declaration of death for all 3 boys. In it, she asked the court to declare their day of death as Friday, November 26, 2010. They wanted her to declare that the boys had been murdered and that the murderer was their father, John Skelton. Those are the 3 things that she wanted the judge to fact find. Now, in order for a judge to give a ruling under Michigan law, the persons in question must have been missing for at least 5 years. And there needs to be clear and convincing evidence that they are no longer alive. So a 1-day trial was held on March 3rd, 2025. I don't understand how it took that long to have this kind of hearing, but okay. I don't know much about those hearings. We should look into that because I don't really know that whole process.
I'm not sure, but I do know that Tanya was just living on hope. Like, she didn't want to give up hope. Obviously, I mean, no mom in that situation would, but I think she she might have been part of why it didn't happen sooner.
Well, no, I meant from the time she filed in 2023 to the actual trial in 2025.
Oh,
That's what I
gotcha.
meant. That time frame, how it took
My
like a
bad.
whole year and whatever.
Who
But I
knows?
don't know how those kind of things work. I've never witnessed one or seen one, so
Can't be
I have no
COVID.
idea.
It's way after COVID, but
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I have my theories of why this did happen, but we'll get to that. In Texas, you have to wait 7 years. Yeah, it's different, and the amount of time is different in a whole bunch of different states. It's not broad like that. Now, as I said, a one-day trial was held on March 3rd, 2025. Yep, that, you guys, this past March 3rd. 5 witnesses took the stand to testify about the investigation and that they believe the children are dead and that they believe it was at the hands of John. By the way, you guys, this hearing is available on YouTube if you want to listen to it yourself. It's about 4.5 hours, maybe.
Yep.
Long. It's available, which is the first time I've ever seen one of these televised before. I'm going to go with probably because of the importance of the case. People are probably interested to hear if there was any, testimony. But so you can watch this later if you guys want on the tubes. All right. So now John was in attendance for about the first 2 minutes of the trial via Zoom. Okay.
Oh God, I can't stand him.
This guy. It will piss you off in those 2 minutes. Let me tell you what. All right. He was there for about 2 minutes. He had the right to be there, first of all. And again, this is not a criminal trial. This is to find the death of the children. All right. But they want the judge to kind of say, yeah, we think it was this guy that did it. But anyway, he still had a right to be there because they are his kids. But he didn't actually have to be. All right. And he also whined about not having a lawyer. And then if I did say something, nobody would listen to me anyway. Meh, meh, meh. All right. So he dipped out. He just fucking went off of Zoom, didn't care, and just went away. Like, oh, way to be an adult, John. Way to be an adult for these kids you care so much about. But it's fine. It's fine. He knows where they are, you guys, because when he gets out, they're going to contact him. So it's fine. Anyway, so Chief Larry Weeks, the formerly chief of police for Morenci Police Department, FBI agent Corey Beres, lead Michigan State Police Detective Jeremy Brewer, Tanya Zuver herself, and cold case expert Kelly Hodges all took the stand. Now, I don't want to, they didn't really provide anything more for me to add in here than I think most of the stuff we've already kind of covered, but there could be. Okay. I was busy listening to it and writing at the same time. So I might have missed some important things. So I do encourage you to go watch it with yourself. But one of the biggest takeaways, I will say one of the biggest takeaways from the testimony came from cold case expert Kelly Hodges, who said she had run approximately 20 database searches on the state and federal level, including facial recognition with past and all sets of age progression photos. Her last search concluded in August of 2024. She found no proof of life after November 25th, 2010. And by the way, you guys, Amish people do have social security numbers and IDs. Okay? In case you're wondering, well, maybe, no, that's not how that works. They have to have those. Can you link it when you're done? Yeah, Ames, you want to pull that up and share it with the class? All right. So 2 days later, on March 5th, 2025, Judge Catherine Sollett gave her decision. And I'm going to read it to you. It's not very long, but it's long enough. So that way you know exactly what she had to say about it. Quote, "This is a case of terrible and long-standing impact on the community of Lenawee. No condolences will ever be enough for such losses suffered. These proceedings offer an opportunity to recognize the disappearance and death of these three brothers, but leaves more questions unanswered. Such a voluminous amount of work by law enforcement will never be fully recognized or credited rightly, especially when such a loss still remains unresolved. Alexander William Skelton, Andrew Ryan Skelton, and Tanner Lucas Skelton have been missing since November 26, 2010. Given their undisputed disappearance for over 14 years, the statutory presumption of death applies. The presentation of evidence, however, does not present clear and convincing evidence that John Skelton murdered these children. The information provided at this trial provides ample opportunity for speculation and theories, but to make such a finding, the court would only join the voices offering such speculation and theory, given the lack of information. The impact of this ruling is not lost on the court, for it is also part of this community. But the court must follow the law, and to ignore it in this case risks the very structures upon which our system of justice is built. Thus, it is with the gravest of condolences. It is ordered Alexander William Skelton, Andrew Ryan Skelton, and Tanner Lucas Skelton are presumed to be deceased as of November 26th, 2015. End quote. So what the judge was saying there, in case you didn't follow, is she did agree that she would declare the children as dead. She went to November 26, 2015, because that is the Michigan cutoff date. Okay. But she did not rule that John was responsible for it. And I think, too, she did not also rule that they were murdered. And that's why she only backdated the death to 2015. That's my assumption on that last part there. But honestly, I don't think it would have been in good practice for her to have been like, yep, he murdered them. You know, this is not that kind of courtroom. So she did, however, find them deceased. So, you guys, what happens next? I know you're all wondering, what is happening next? So, John Skelton has been behind bars and living at the Bellamy Creek Correctional Facility in Michigan since September 15th, 2011. That's a stupid face right there. He was up for parole a few times, but was denied on every occasion for, not showing remorse, not saying where the children are. Denied. All of John's prison phone calls and written correspondence have been closely monitored, and there has never been any mention from John or anyone he has been communicating with as to the well-being or whereabouts of his children. That's right. He hasn't contacted anybody as for the underground sanctuary. Nope, nada. There's never been any mention of when the boys would be returned either. So, 15 years, you guys. Now, y'all ready to be real pissed? In just a few weeks, on November 29th of this year, right after Thanksgiving, John Skelton will walk out of prison and be a free man. That's right. He will serve the entirety of his 15-year sentence and will be out. And there's nothing that anyone can do about that. Now, many of us are wondering, will the boys come out of hiding like John has professed for the last 15 years? If John did kill the boys, would he slip up and lead investigators to their bodies once he's free? Or even though there are no bodies, will the state decide to arrest him and finally charge him with the murder of Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner? I mean, those are three very interesting options. Let us know in the comments below what you would like to see happen next with this case, because we're all going to be keeping our eyes out on this one for sure. And you guys, if you have any information about this case or the whereabouts of Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner Skelton, please contact the Morenci Police Department at 517 485 7104. As Teri always says in Midday Missing, maybe it's a rumor, maybe it's not. The smallest detail could help give this family answers on what happened to those 3 little boys. So, yes, please, if you know anything at all about that. Now, closing thoughts. Boy,
I've said it repeatedly. He's a douche.
You what?
I've said it repeatedly. He's a douchebag.
He is a douchebag.
He's a piece of crap.
Mm-hmm. Do you not like him?
I obviously have a very strong opinion on this whole thing, and I think he did something. And I honestly am just surprised that he's been able to keep it secret.
Yeah.
Because he does obviously like to talk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that he does.
So, but I wonder if also, you know what? It's not my show, and I'm just sharing my closing thoughts on this whole thing because I have an opinion, but I have to wonder if maybe they didn't, when they declared the boys dead, if they didn't say murder and they didn't accuse him there, because maybe something is coming.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Maybe they're hoping that he'll lead them to something, because they always go back to the crime scene at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. That's one of the reasons why I was wondering if that's one of the reasons. There's numerous reasons to declare somebody missing. As you know, you work on Midday Missing, right? Because once they can declare somebody dead, it moves into homicide, and there's more resources and stuff like that available. And so I think that's part of the reason that she did it. One, I also don't think it would have been appropriate for the judge to rule that he murdered that. That's not really, it was a 1-day trial. You couldn't actually do due process. It just wasn't the right time and place. Now, usually in cases like this, it'll be like the criminal side happens first, and then you can be like, yeah, he definitely killed them. We've seen that before. But I wonder if that way they can say, yep, the boys have been declared dead. Personally, I think that with everything that we read tonight, yes, there's no bodies, but no body cases, that's no longer a hiccup really anymore. I think they easily could charge him with murder and probably get a conviction out of it. Now, I'm not saying that I would agree with, it depends what evidence they bring to trial, but charging him, I could see them doing that, because there's really no point of them charging when he's already locked up, right? Because remember, once you charge somebody with something, the clock starts ticking, and they don't know where the boys, there's a lot of stuff they don't know, and they're hoping he slips while he's in prison, so I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if we see charges in the next 6 months, even the day he gets out, who knows? Yeah, why not try? Well, some prosecutors, and I don't know that's the case in this one. I'm not putting words in these prosecutors' mouths because I don't know, but a lot of them will be like, "Oh, we can't charge it because we don't have a body," and it's like, that's how many trials have we watched where there's not a body? Harmony Montgomery, there was no body. All right, it was very obvious. Now, I'll tell you the few things they don't have in this case. Well, we don't know. But I'm going to go with,
I was going to say, it's still open.
Right. It's still open, so they could have lots of stuff we don't know. But, there isn't like there's DNA places or, we don't know. It would be very circumstantial. But, I mean, look, Crystal Rogers, we just watched her case, and they had less on Brooks, in my opinion, than they got on this guy. And they were able to, put him away. So I really don't see why they wouldn't be bringing charges against him very soon. So, yeah, as Teri said, it is for some counties. They don't like no body cases, but I think digitally, I don't know. I feel like they could secure a conviction for sure. I really do. What's
I just feel
inconclusive right
really
now?
bad for
Kidnapping?
Tanya.
No. No. So what's also interesting is that the prosecution dropped the kidnapping charges for him to plead guilty to involuntary confinement of the children, okay, which is a lesser charge than kidnapping. Kidnapping could be a life sentence, all right? But I also think that the reason they were fine with dropping the kidnapping was because that can come again, right? So he gets out, all right, because he wasn't found guilty, not guilty for the kidnapping. They took it away as part of the plea deal. They could just charge him with kidnapping and throw him back in there. So I'm pretty sure they could do that because you weren't actually convicted or not convicted of anything. So it doesn't cross double jeopardy, I would think. But so
I feel so bad for Tanya and that family, that community.
yeah. And I have a feeling because he's not going to be on parole or anything. He's done, like done, gets to walk out. I bet you his ass goes straight to Florida. That's where that's where he's from. And his family's all down there. So,
Which
but
there's more story there too, but okay.
oh, yes. We didn't even get into his family side of things, but I didn't really feel like it was important to the kids' story and details. So, how are they not allowing him to say where the kids are? I mean, he has all these stories, right?
Well, he's claiming he did, They're still alive.
According to him.
Right.
With a secret underground.
I say that with a lot of sarcasm behind it.
And right now, these boys are all over 18 if they're still alive. Wouldn't Andrew be like 24? Because he was 9. So he would be like 24 years old.
Yeah, 5, 7, and 9.
So they'd all be adults. So where are they, John? Where are they? Oh, yeah, John. I'll tell you what. These people thinking, oh, I'm going to get back at my partner because of the kids. It's just so gross to me. It's so gross. So gross. But you guys, that's what we have for you tonight. I know it was a long one, but you know what? The story's been a long time coming. And the word needs to get about those boys, especially now that it's coming up again in a few weeks.
And he's getting out.
Yes. People should know that. Spread the word.
Right.
Where's the kids, John? Where are the kids? Honestly. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, your husband. Are you watching Trials with your friends? They're telling me the story, hubby. Yes. Well, before we go, though, I do need to give some quick promos. Before we go, if you like what you heard tonight, please be sure to follow all of our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free. Or if you're listening to our pod, please download and give us a rating. Oh, that hurt. Sorry.
Do you not want to show the slide?
Oh, sorry. I didn't see the slide. Boom. Oh, you do it. We're just hitting the buttons at the same time. There they are. Da, 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 da. All of our shows.
Look at there. I got a Llama Learns About in there now.
I love it. I love it. Yes, please, if you're listening to us on a pod, please download and give us a rating or review. All of that helps us tremendously in getting our teeny tiny little channel out there. Now, you guys, next week on True Crime and Wine Time, we will be covering the haunting story of Ricardo Lopez, Bjork's stalker. Oh boy, you guys, this one's wild. All right. We will dive deep into the deeply disturbing admiration that turned into one of the most shocking celebrity stalking cases. And oh boy, yeah, it's a doozy. All right, so we'll be doing that next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Now, if you need more of Teri, True Crime, and I, you can always find us doing something on our True Crime and Wine Time YouTube channel. Don't believe me? I've been sitting in this chair for 12 hours today. So we're always doing something. Midday Missing, join Teri every Monday and Wednesday, where she covers missing person cases that need more attention. On Monday, she'll be covering the disappearance of Scott Anthony Barrows and Andy Wagner. Both cases are heartbreaking and are going to leave us all with a lot of questions. So
I think she covered those. I think it's a different case. Sorry. I don't.
Oh, all right. Well, those might not be the right
Still
ones.
2 new cases.
Either way, join her for these stories. Please share the missing persons flyers. Listen, just spread them. It's free. All right. Just click and share and poof. Who knows? Just by doing that, you could help a family get answers. I mean, look at how much damage and pain was going on in the story we were talking about tonight. That's with all of these families. They all go through this. So please check us out for that. You can also check out our merch shop on our website, tcwtmedia.com. We've dropped several new items this past Sunday. And because it's getting chilly, November is our legging month. So during the entire month of November, you can get all of our leggings for $20 off. That's right. No code. The price is already there. And I think that's free shipping too, if I remember right. Maybe I shouldn't say things out loud, but I'm pretty sure. But either way, $20 off is a steal. You guys, they're so freaking cute. Hold on. Maybe I still have that window up from earlier. Oh, I do. Here, hold on. Let me give you, I was showing these off today on Couch Court because I am like obsessed with them. There we go. Boom. And there we go. There we go. So far we have free shipping. Thank you. Yes. So they're $20 off plus free shipping. We have the cute Couch Court ones with our little couch potato, who's my personal favorite. They come in all different colors. I hear they're very soft. I'm going to have mine coming soon. They're very soft and silky smooth and comfy and great stretching. Then we also have ones with Llama on it, our little logo that we have for Couch Court with Llama. And we have, there's just so many Midday Missing ones as well, which are just adorable. I want all of them. Can I just buy all of them? Oh, Sam's hubby. She needs yellow leggings for the trial watching. It's part of her uniform. Anyway, so that's what we have going on there in our shop, along with tons of other really cute products. Hats, mugs, shirts, tanks, all sorts of things. That's at tcwtmedia.com. Now, again, if you haven't yet, please like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode. Now, Amy, I never get to ask you this, but is there something you'd like to say before we go or sign off?
No.
No? No.
I mean,
thanks.
Thanks for letting me hang out with you, even though I kind of just popped on without even saying anything. I was like, hey, hi.
No, I'm glad you got to come on and hang out. Everybody give Amy a round of applause. Tell her she did great. She wasn't quite you were still here for support and conversation. You gave some good commentary. You did great. Oh, that's right. Tomorrow night, we do have our show, Too Much Internet, TMI. Amos will be on as well. Myself, Teri, and the lovely Annie. This, as you can see, we cover a lot of dark subjects on our channel. And this show has nothing to do with any of that. Nope.
No.
Instead, it's just us being unhinged, having a fun time, talking about things we've seen on the internet. We're doing some travel guides tomorrow, some cookie cutter guessing, all sorts of fun stuff. Normally, that show is for members every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, but the first Friday every month is live for everyone. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be a fun time. If you need some laughs, because it's been a dark week, come there. Or hang out with us for Couch Court tomorrow. We've been covering this trial, you guys. Nevada versus Devin Michaels.
It
I don't even
started
know
with
how
a
to explain
banger.
it. It started with something. It is wild. So if you just want to see what that's about, you can join me for Couch Court with Llama tomorrow at noon Eastern. Yeah, it's a West Coast trial. That's why it starts so late. So you don't want to miss it. It is something. All right. Well, listen, thank you everyone for listening and supporting us. Until next time, take care of your mind, take care of each other, and never stop asking the hard questions. So now, everybody, you know the drill. Go forth and be amazing. Bye, guys.